Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. In this video we will be reading books with under 10,000 reviews. I have a big stack here and I think I have a couple more if I take it over 10,000, but for now we're going to start with 10,000. On the list for this week we'll obviously be reading 3, but these are the books that we have and these are their ratings. The first book we have on my list is actually a library book and it's called The Vanishing Deep by Astrid Schultz. I just thought the cover was cool, that attracted me, and it is YA as well, which is always an easy palette cleanser. I just looked it up and I got it a bit wrong. So it has under 10,000 ratings, but it also has much less reviews. So this book has 2,969 ratings and only 678 reviews. Then this is one of the books I got for my birthday. Most of these are. So this one has 2,279 ratings as well as 459 reviews, and it has a 3.21 rating. Then we have The Light That Blinds Us, and this is by Andy Darcy Theo. This one has 1,896 ratings and 471 reviews with an average rating of 3.68. Sorry, I'm reading all of this off because I would never be able to remember that. Then we have this book, which is a sequel to one that I recently read, and this is The Seed of Cain, which is the sequel to The Record Keeper, and this is by Agnes Gomillion. This book has probably the lowest, so I definitely think it will be in today's video. This one has 106 ratings with 8 written reviews, and it has a 3.92 star rating average. Then we have an Ocean of Minutes by Thea Lim, and is it Lim? L-I-M? Lim? This one actually has the most ratings I think today, and it's got 6,893 ratings with 1,194 reviews. I really love this cover, that's why I bought it, and it sounds pretty interesting. It sounds kind of dystopian. Okay, maybe this one is the highest rated, but it is under 10,000 again. It's 8,379 ratings with 853 reviews, as well as having a 3.83 star rating. The last book we have physically is An Inheritance of Magic by Benedict Jacker. It has 4,259 ratings, 601 reviews, and it's got a 4.1 rating or average rating, which is pretty good. I do have a couple of Kindle options as well. So the first one is Deadly Occupants by Mads Rafferty. I got this suggested to me by Belle Therese on YouTube, and this has 3,204 ratings with 681 reviews, and it's got an average rating of 3.85. The last book we have here is A Cursed Sun by De Lieto. I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's the beginning of a series, and it's also a Kindle Unlimited fantasy series. It's got 3,207 ratings, 746 reviews, and it has a 4.2 average rating, which is pretty interesting. So that's all the books we have. Obviously, we'll work our way through it. Maybe I'll do one of these videos a month. I'm going to try my best because I just want to get through some books that aren't very popular and not super viral, because I've been finding those books really boring, and I'm hoping we can find some gems here. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Time will tell, but we're going to start with the lowest rated books and read them first. The first one is The Seed of Cain. Like I said, it has 106 ratings. Then we have The Light That Blinds Us by Andy Darcy Theo. This one has 1,903 ratings. Then the last book we'll be reading here is The Dark Net by Percy Benjamin, or Benjamin Percy, dyslexic. Like I said, this is a very cool cover, and I thought the concept of this was pretty cool. It's like a religious thriller. Like I think that would be really interesting, like The Conjuring and all of that. It is largely based around faith, so I think that is very interesting. This is our stack. I'm not sure what exactly I will start with, but I kind of feel like I need to start with this one. I'm so intrigued by it and want to see what it is about because the comments aren't very positive about it. Yeah, I've spoken way too much already. I'm gonna go off and start reading. guys, so I thought I'd do a quick check-in just before I get a bit further into the book. I'm here now, so I'm on chapter 10, page 86, so I'm like about 35% through the book, see there. Before I start and tell you what I think the book is about and how I feel, I wanted to read the back to you, which I think confused a lot of people when I saw the reviews. A lot of people didn't like it because they thought it was going to be something different. So it says, the darknet is an online shadowland for criminals to operate anonymously, but when a demonic force begins to hack the minds of its users, there is nowhere left to hide. 12-year-old Hannah has been fitted with a high-tech prosthetic that restored her sight, but she can't understand why she can now see shadows surrounding certain people. Layla, an emotionally shut-off technophobe journalist, stumbles onto a story and wants her to uncover a story someone will kill to keep hidden. A former evangelist, Mike, suffers demons, figuratively and literally, and keeps an arsenal of weapons stored in the basement of a homeless shelter he runs. And Derek is a hacker who believes himself a soldier, part of the cyber army dedicated to changing the world for the better. With the virus spreading on the net and an ancient evil threatening to break loose in the real world, it falls to those strangers to stop the rising darkness. I haven't got to any part where it's like the deep dark net yet. It's kind of been hinted at, but in our prologue we see Hannah, the 12-year-old girl, get fitted with prosthetic. They call it a prosthesis, but they do like surgery to correct her eyes, and then she has to wear these goggles where it kind of transmits like a video stream into her mind so she can see again. But that's the only part so far that I've got of Hannah. Layla is a journalist. She is a technophobe. She doesn't like anything got to do with the internet, but she's like a ruthless journalist. She'll do anything to get the story. She does write very mundane stories, but she goes off track and just looks for her own thing. So when people start turning up dead, she starts to investigate, and she goes to like this old site where a serial killer used to operate from, and he was part of the occult. The building was meant to be condemned, but when she goes there, people are excavating something there and it looks like old graves, and she goes to check, and she's not supposed to because it's a private property now. She goes to check and she starts taking pictures, and she kind of gets caught, but she grabs something on her way out, and this thing has some sort of demonic force into it. We then meet Mike as well, and Mike, I like his character. He's probably my favorite right now. He had a near-death experience, or I think it's called a near-death experience, but he passed away for like 10 minutes and then was revived, and then he came back and he saw a light when he passed away, and he was selling these stories about what he saw in the light, but he embellished some of it because his parents were so like encouraged by all these stories. He just started telling it, and he started doing sermons, and he started like going to people's deathbeds and helping them along the journey, and he made lots of money. But then he comes across a dark force. This dark force basically curses him, and then he meets someone called, what's her name, Saria? I can't remember her name now. Saren. I think her name is Saren. Her name is Saren. He meets Saren, who is like a light bringer. She helps him get rid of this curse, and together they have now come together and fighting like dark forces. But it seems like an old force has come back, and has come back with a vengeance, so they are basically hunting it down. We do have a little glimpse of someone getting an email chain, opening it, and then committing some sort of crime. So there's all these little breadcrumbs left for us to solve this mystery, but so far there hasn't been a lot said about the darknet. It largely covers religion and good and evil versus, you know, light and dark, and it's a lot of religious stuff. So if you've ever seen Constantine or Legion, you will love this book because I am eating it up. It is a very large book, and it is very wide as well. If you look at this, there's like a lot of words on the page, so it's taken me a bit longer. And as you can see, I've been annotating. There's some like Bible verses and good versus evil and stuff about demons in here, and then also about like how some people are infested with darkness and they commit heinous crimes. And like I thought that was a very valid for the world we live in today, and also rediscovering my faith. So I'm loving it. I'm eating it up, and I don't agree with all the reviews that I've seen so far, but I mean, I still have a ways to go, so we'll have to wait and see. Because this is such a short book, I'll probably come back to you guys if I have something more to say or when I finish it, because like I said, this is like 250 pages, 7 pages in, almost at 100, so I don't have much more to read. So I'll probably come back to you guys when I've finished the book, but so far I'm really liking it. I like anything that doesn't, like I said in previous videos, that doesn't look at religion in a bad light, no matter what type of religion it is, and how like if you open yourself up to certain forces and how it can like rule your life and dictate your life and your path. And I think it's very, very interesting. So I'm having an awesome time. I never annotate either. And I've like almost annotated every single page here. Yeah, I think it's very, very interesting. So I'm having a good time, like I said. So I'm gonna go off. I need to have a quick shower and then I will get back to reading. But I am having a great time. Everyone. The lighting looks pretty dark because I'm backlit, but I hope it's okay because I really don't feel like moving. It's actually quite cold today, but I just finished The Darknet literally like 5 minutes ago. And like I said, I really enjoyed this book for the most part. I would compare it to the likes of watching, like I said, Legion or Constantine, and close to the end, even the movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson. It's like an amalgamation of all those movies with light and dark, good and evil, and fighting the dark with light and all of that. And it has religious undertones, which I actually really enjoyed, and I would recommend this book. It's pretty good. It's described as a techno thriller or techno horror because it has a lot of technology and it revolves around a lot of technology. In saying that, you'll see I tabbed most of it, but the end over here is basically nothing because at the end it got so techie that I started to lose interest, and I feel like that's going to deduct some points. This was a solid 4-star the whole way through, and now it's feeling like a 3.75. I'm not 100% sure on my rating because like I said, I just finished it and I have had quite a stressful day, so I don't know if it was due to that. So stay tuned to the end to get like my final rating on this, but for now it feels like a 3.75. Do I think that this is underhyped? For sure, but I think it's a very specific group of people who will like this. I thought it was YA, but it doesn't read like YA. There's lots of cussing, there is body horror, there is a lot of gore and speaking about demons and all of that. I wouldn't recommend this for anybody younger than about 16 because this could be really traumatic, even though one of our main female characters is 12. I think this is definitely underhyped, especially if you come from a more religious background or know a little bit about religion. I think this would be a great addition to your read. It reads like a horror movie and I thought it was so much fun. Next, we're meant to read The Light That Blinds Us, but unfortunately I don't think we're going to in this video because I really want to read The Vanishing Deep by Astrid Schultz because this is a library book. So I thought it would be better just to get it done now because I don't know when the next episode of this video will be, probably in a month. I can't keep a library hold for that long. So if I don't know if my camera will focus, but as you can see, it's right beneath The Light That Blinds Us. So this one has 2,970 ratings. I'm not sure how many reviews, 678 reviews. So not bad. It has a 3.64 average star rating. So I want to see what this is about. I looked inside and it looks pretty cool. And the font is a really nice size. It's quite thick. It's got 423 pages. So quite a big one, but I'm really excited. I looked up the genre of this and it says it's sci-fi / dystopian. So I'm very excited for this. My camera is about to die. So let me get to page 100 and I'll let you guys know what the book is about. It's the next day and I made it to page 100, chapter 11. The plot is a little bit confusing, but it's definitely dystopian. So we have a main female character. Her name is Tempest, but she goes by Tempe. And she comes from the time in the future, I guess, because it is dystopian, where there is no longer land. Everybody's living on water because once upon a time, people thought that they could melt the ice caps and the Arctic and make more room and space for overpopulation, and unfortunately they flooded the entire earth. So there's just they're starting to rebuild. I'm literally making this sound so convoluted. It was a few hundred years ago, so they're slowly starting to rebuild. There are little bits of land left, left that didn't meet like the water levels. The rest of them live on reefs that are kind of attached to this mainland. So they all have like anchors and stuff. They get all their energy from the sun. The world is obviously sunken, so there's loads of divers who go down and dive and salvage and sell these to get by. But at the same time, they also have this thing called revival. So if someone drowns, they can conserve the body and then bring them back for 24 hours if you want to see them and say your final goodbye. But it costs really, really expensive and it's nearly impossible to do, but people beg, borrow, steal in order to do this. So Tempe's sister passed away 2 years ago, and she found out something that her sister has been lying to her about, or so someone says. So she decides that she's going to resurrect her sister, get the answers that she needs. After being revived, it says it on the back, her sister doesn't want to just be alive for 24 more hours. She wants to escape. I'm assuming her sister's name is Elise. The two of them escape, and I don't know what happens after that, because surely if they're only supposed to be alive for 24 hours, how's that going to work? Like, if they escape, is she just going to collapse, or what is happening? But it's so easy to read and it's so interesting and so intriguing. Tempe is very hardened. Her parents also passed away like maybe 5 years ago, so 3 years before her sister. Her parents worked for this company or organization which is called, it's a play on words on a palindrome, so it is Palindromina. It's called this area where they revive people. They're also starting to grow crops, and that's where the main source of food comes from, because they have potatoes and rice and things like that. So they all bargain with them. But her parents used to work for this organization. Her mom was a botanist and her dad was a warden, who is someone who kind of assists with the revival. So it's very, very interesting. I'm quite intrigued, and I'm shocked that I even read 100 pages in just a short space of time. So yeah, the font is really good, and I like where the story is going. So what happened with the melting the ice caps in Antarctica and all those places, it's called the Great Wave, because obviously water levels started rising and now there's loads of storms, and it's interesting. It's interesting. She lives on a reef called Equinox, which is the biggest reef in the known lands at the moment, or the known waters, because they have the highest population, but they can't overpopulate this area because obviously it will start to sink. She herself is a diver and she's a scavenger. Like, it starts off with her doing a dive and she's running out of air in her cylinder that she has. It's not the same as it is now, but she's running out of air in the cylinder, and you see like kind of how the ruins of the old world are described, which is really, really interesting. But I'm not sure if I'm making any sense there, but I'm having a good time. I don't really like the sister's character now that she's been revived. I feel like she's very manipulative, but we'll see. In the front of it here, the library has written like what they think it is. So it's fantasy, sci-fi, dystopian, mystery, thriller, adventure. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I will come back probably maybe halfway or just over halfway. I'm going to give it like a few chapters in order to tell you guys what I think, because I think with this 100 pages, I haven't got the gist of the story. But there's another character as well called Law. He is living in Palindromina. I find it so hard to say. Even when I'm reading in my head, I'm like, what is it? But there's a guy named Law, and he is kind of hiding out because he also lost someone and had revived them, but he has nightmares and all these things. And at the moment, he's helping another friend out. Well, his friend is a warden, and Law basically looks after the tank where all the bodies are preserved, because they're only preserved for 10 years. Then they get incinerated if they cannot be used for research purposes. So Law steps in for, what's the guy's name? Rayland? I think his name is Rayland. So he stands in for Rayland to assist him while he goes to do something that he really needs to do, and they've just sparked up a friendship. So he's not supposed to be a warden, and he's assisting Tempe. So I think something is going to happen there. I don't know if he's the love interest or if, I don't know, because Law is like a recluse. He had something bad happen to him, did the revival, and he has nightmares all the time. So he's not left. They call it the aquarium, which is like the basement where they keep all the bodies. I'm getting vibes of like almost like Shatter Me kind of, and then a little bit of a little bit of Metal Slinger as well, with like the water world and all of that. I don't think there's magic in it though, so I don't know where the fantasy bit comes in, but we'll have to wait and see. Friends, so as promised, I made it to 255, page 255, and we are on chapter 31. I read all of this in less than a day, so I must be liking it. That's the biggest sign that I'm enjoying a book, when I get through it like this. I'm loving it. I love the depictions of like how environmental behaviors can affect the future. So a lot of this is based on how us as humans abuse the earth. We kind of prioritize resources and the overpopulation issues and pollution, and we just are so self-serving that we don't think of the impact that we have on the world and the earth as itself. It's very interesting, and these themes are actually speaking to me more so than I thought it would, because it was YA, and I like YA, I do, but I didn't think it would be so deep and have so much meaning to it. There's a lot of grief spoken about as well, like people passing away, and then obviously they have this revival situation going on where you can bring them back for 24 hours, and I feel like that would be so traumatic because you've already grieved them, and then to bring them back and only to have to grieve them again, I think that's actually backwards thinking. Like, yeah, you're just hurting yourself all over again. I get if you like didn't get to say goodbye, but a lot of times with death you don't get to say goodbye. It's more for money than it is for anything else at the moment, from what I can understand, because the revival doesn't make sense if you just get 24 hours with them and then have to say goodbye forever, because after you've been revived you can only be revived once and then they dispose of your body. So very, very interesting, and I'm having such a good time. I'm flying through it. The writing is simple, but it's still effective and descriptive enough, so it's a good time. I am very like conflicted about our main female character, Tempest, or Tempe. She's closed off because she's experienced so much trauma and loss and grief, so she's very closed off, but there's glimpses of her like trying to peek through now, especially since her sister's around, but obviously she doesn't want to say goodbye. All her motivations, they don't really make sense to me, and the male main character, Law, he's just so secretive, and I feel like he should just tell people because he feels responsible for an event that happened many years ago and he's punishing himself for it, so he doesn't want to admit what he's done, even though as a reader you can tell that it wasn't his fault. But yeah, it's very conflicting, and I'm really having a great time. I'm like 60% through, so I have 40% left. I don't know how many pages those are because your girl can't count. I'm having a great time, so I definitely will finish this probably today, and then tomorrow we'll start the last book, which is The Seed of Cain, which is actually the book with the lowest reviews and ratings on our list. Guys, I'm almost done. I'm on chapter 48, page 379. So we have like 44 pages left. So let's go ahead and finish this together. It's so good. It's getting so good. I had to stop myself last night from finishing it because I wanted to get it on film. There's already been one plot twist, like maybe 10 pages ago, that I really didn't expect. Let's see what happens. It's feeling like a 5-star, but we'll see what this last 44 pages has to offer. So holding the wrong book. I finished it. I just finished it right now. It took me a while longer because I had some other things going on that I needed to deal with, but I finished it, and I think I'm going to give it a 4.5. I really liked it, but there was a bit that I thought was unnecessary in that it was like I'm not saying like a plot twist, but it was like an obstacle they had to overcome, but they'd already overcome so many obstacles. I felt like it was unnecessary and it didn't need that in order to make the story whole, so I felt like that let it down just a little bit. The ultimate plot twist made me so sad. I didn't cry, but but it was really, really sad. And I really had a great time reading this book. I was speaking to my husband and he's like, I love the look on your face when you read a book that you really love, because I just get all giddy and happy and I just want to keep reading. Last night I went to bed at like 2 a.m. reading this. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.5, I think. 4.5, loved it. It was really fast paced. The adventure was cool. The plot twist was good. Some of the things I did guess, but it fit in really well with the story. So I would really, really recommend this if you like sci-fi, dystopian, environmental destruction type of stories, as well as a little bit of an exploration of grief. I think you would really, really like this book. It is YA, so very easy to read, very easy to follow, and very comprehensive. So I would really recommend. It was so much fun and I had a good time. Fun isn't the right word because there's a lot of grief, but there's a lot of adventure and stuff. I've seen some really mean comments, but I don't agree with them. I had a really fun time and it was exactly what I needed right now. It is Saturday and it's cold and it's about to rain, so I don't think I'm going anywhere, but I do want to watch a little horror movie. If you don't know, it's like my favorite genre of movie to watch. But the last book we have is The Seed of Cain. This font is tiny, but I'm not going to start this until much later, so I'll let you guys know when I start that. This is the sequel to, I don't even know if the actual two books, it's a duology. I don't know if they actually have like a name for the series, but the first one was The Record Keeper, which I read recently, and then this is The Seed of Cain, which is the second one. I'm excited to start this. Again, it's also YA dystopian, but this is also, it focuses on like racism and generational trauma and things like that, so also very thought-provoking. So I'm very excited to start this as well and finish up this duology. That's all I have to say for now. I'm gonna go and watch a movie, probably just stay in bed all day, and then I will start this a bit later. Hi everyone, jump scare! So I decided to play with some makeup. I just got some inspiration last night, or got inspired, shall I say. Anyway, let me get my book. As you can see, I annotated again. However, I am on page 151, and obviously if you watch my previous video, you'll know that they don't have chapter names. It's called The Lift. So 151, I'd say I'm about 40% through, and I got a lot of reading done yesterday, and yesterday was Sunday, and Saturday I read about pages, and then yesterday I read some, today I read some, and I wanted to come back with something more comprehensive because, okay, let's start here. I hope this isn't going to be long, and I hope it's not convoluted. Here's the first book. It is The Record Keeper. It's on my TBR to be reviewed shelf. So I read this in my reading YA books, but I don't think it's YA. It's actually new adult, because in this book she's 18. In this book it takes place 2 years later, so she's 20. So it's not young adult. I was mistaken. So this takes place 2 years after The Record Keeper. What The Record Keeper is about is, like I said, racism. It's dystopian. It's oppression. So it takes place in an area called Congo, which the rest of the world has basically been destroyed by some atomic bomb. So there's only a few sections left, and it's very, very segregated. So we have the north, which is white people, Caucasians. Then we have the Clays. I think they're in the south, and they are a mix of Asians and brown people. And then we have the Congo, which is black people. So during all the fighting in the war, they came up with this compromise, and Clay people have a small scale of control. The North has the majority control, and the Congo has the least amount of control. They have like one representative from the Congo on the board. Let's just say that. What happens is they are divided. The Congo people are divided into two groups. So it is the first brothers, the second brothers. The first brothers are intellectuals. So they just get picked randomly at birth, and they get to go to school. So they're taken away from their homes at a very young age, and they are basically reared in order to follow what the North wants them to. So they go to school, they learn really good English, they become record keepers, which is basically just taking an account on history. But it's all very convoluted because they're being brainwashed and they're being told things that aren't necessarily true. So in this book, Erica encounters a lot of things and she breaks out of it and she causes a rebellion. So let's put that back. That's basically what it's about. So fighting oppression and getting a hold of their country again. In this book, takes place 2 years after that, and so much has changed. Erica is now the general of the army. She leads all these things, but she has some sort of weird illness. Every time she gets too stressed out or gets overwhelming feelings, she'll pass out. So she doesn't really deal with grief. She doesn't deal with anything, if I'm being honest. She kind of just brushes things off, and it makes me angry. It makes me angry because things aren't spoken about. Like, there's a huge event that happens at the end of the record keeper and it's not addressed. A couple times it's been skimmed over and I'm like, I don't understand. But now we know she has this illness and that is most likely the reason. We have 2 new characters that are introduced. So we have Kira and Lee. Kira is just out to get Erica, and Lee, I'm pretty sure, has ulterior motives. He's acting like he likes her, but I'm pretty sure he's trying to use her for something. So she's trying to cure her illness at the moment, and through this, she's obsessed with the past. Like, she just wants to know all the history, and the history is currently being destroyed because the North have taken up, like, what is it, like asylum in an area of Congo, and they've like holed up and they have their own troops and they're fighting, and they just want access to the public main library where all the records are kept, and they cannot access it. So she's obsessed with this one guy called Obi Solomon, which is their forefather and their founding father, who originally signed the compromise. So she knows that something's going on with that compromise, and she thinks either he was misled or he was a traitor. So she's trying to figure all this out, and we're going along with her. But the problem is the story isn't linear. It jumps around so much. Like, the epilogue was a different timeline to the first chapter, and the second chapter was different timeline to the third chapter, and like everything is very confusing and it's all over the place. So hence why I've started tabbing, not because it's interesting stuff, but because I'm trying to keep track of the storyline, maybe things that are important. So facts that are mentioned multiple times or events that have happened multiple times and spoken about, I'm highlighting that. But so far, I'm not having a good time because I feel like it's too sporadic, it's chaotic, and it's all over the place. And I prefer a more linear story. It's kind of like a bunch of info dumping and thought dumping down on a page. So I don't get it. I really don't get it. I think I'm going to finish this book. Like I said, I'm on page 151. It's 409 pages. I think I'll just finish it before I come back because I really don't understand what's going on. So yeah, we'll come back at the end of the book. The amount of times I just said yeah is ridiculous. Yesterday, you'll see in the B-roll, I took myself out on a solo date and I had a coffee and some breakfast and I read for a bit at the restaurant, but I was so busy. I get really bad anxiety when I go out by myself as well. I put on some earphones, listened to some music and read my book. But I broke my book buying ban. So, you know, I got books for my birthday recently. I just needed a little pick me up, and my mom and dad went out on their own little date. So I thought I would treat myself too. Here are the books that I got. I'm not going to go into too much depth because this video is already long enough and I've been talking for like 8 minutes already. So first book I got was The Ministry of Time by, I can't say her first name, Killian Bradley, and everybody's spoken very highly of this book. 2 of the booktubers that I really like actually love this book. Like, Ashlyn gave this a 4.25. Haley Pham said it was like a 6-star read for her. Ali Good, I think her name is Ali Good on here, but anyway, she DNF'd it, so I'm not sure, but she didn't like Tomorrow and I didn't like that either, so maybe our tastes slightly align. She reads more romance. I hate romance. I don't hate it. I just don't read that much romance, so we'll see, because apparently it's sci-fi and romance and a bunch of other genres thrown together. So I'm excited to see what it's about, and it was on sale for 169 Rand. Don't know why it was on sale. It was only released last year. I guess we'll find out. The next book I got, because of The Seed of Cain, I realized that I don't read a variety of different authors, so I thought I'd get another Black author, and I got The Eternal Ones by Namina Forner. And this is a YA fantasy. As you know, I love YA fantasies. I just find them so easy to read. And the back here, very interesting. This is what got me intrigued. I didn't even read a full tagline, but it says, she holds the power to defeat the gods, but can she become one? That was interesting, and I thought we'd add that to our TBR. And then the next 2 books are actually for continuation of this video or another episode, because both of these books have under 10,000 10,000 reviews. The first one is Sisters of the Swords and Shadows by Laura Bates, and that is what it looks like. Very excited. It was only 100 Rand. And at the back, again, I didn't read the full synopsis, but it says, an interesting thing happens when a man is defeated in combat by a woman. He tells nobody. So I thought that sounded really, really interesting. So that is a book that's going to be added to the next one of these videos. And then the last one I got was Aspect, which is by John M. Ford. And this was only 69 bucks, which means it either didn't sell well or it's going out of print. But it says, a forbidden romance, magic running rampant, a monarchy coming to an end. Just those taglines alone got me. I don't know what the books are about, but both of those will be added to the next little selection of this video. So I'm just in the car. I don't know why I said it like that, but I'm just in the car because I came for a walk and ouch, my mom's at home. I had my bloods drawn, so that hurt. But anyway, I thought I'd just end off this video because it's actually been a couple of days since I finished the last book. Let me get it. I also did forget my mic at home, so I'm sorry if the sound sounds bad. I finished it. I finished The Seed of Cain, and the last I checked in, I was so confused about what was going on. Look at all these tabs. After the 50% mark, it actually got so much better, and I felt that same connection and attachment to the characters. I must say though, this author is not afraid to kill characters off, and quite pivotal characters as well. Characters that you learn to love and appreciate and it's the same characters that we were suspicious of in the beginning. So it was really sad to see those characters killed off, and I didn't like it. The ending was a little bit weird. It ended up being quite faith-based again. So two of the books that we've read is very, very faith-based. Yeah, I would recommend. I think my final rating will be a 4-star. It was good. I really, really enjoyed the ending and what happened like from, I want to say, the halfway mark. They went on like this quest and it was great. It was great. I do enjoy her writing. Sometimes it can be a little bit verbose and she can use words that don't necessarily match the theme of the book, but ultimately I had a really, really fun time. I couldn't put it down after I spoke to you guys. Like, I just wanted to see what happened and where it would end up, and I was really happy with the outcome, besides the fact that obviously everybody dies at the end. Not everybody, but the important ones that I really, really enjoyed, they all passed away. So that brings us to the end of the video. I'm sorry that I'm just sat in the car and my face is shiny because I'm sweating. I'm not even wearing any makeup, but let's do a quick recap. I didn't speak much about my feelings on, no, I'm talking nonsense. I didn't tell you my rating for this book. I've settled on a 4-star for this as well. I really, really enjoyed it and it stuck with me. I think about it quite often, especially like I said, with all the stuff about faith, the Bible verses in there, the good versus evil, dark versus light, and angels versus demons. It really, really like sat with me and I really enjoyed it. I thought the writing was really good. The story was very compelling. I didn't understand always the references to like technology and stuff because I'm not that good at technology, so that kind of hindered the enjoyment, I think. But once I really sat on my thoughts and thought about the story and the messaging behind it, 4 stars. It was really, really good. And then obviously we read Vanishing Deep by Astrid Schultz. This was my favorite in this video. Gave this a 4.5. I really, really loved it. Again, environmental things really do affect me, or not affect me, but I do think about things. I hate littering and all of that. So for me, this felt like something that could come true if we don't pull our socks up and start appreciating Mother Earth. Oh my gosh, I've become philosophical. I can't even say the word. But yeah, that is all the books that we read, and yeah, all under 10,000 reviews. I actually really, really enjoyed my time. I would recommend all these books, and just because books are viral and popular doesn't mean they're good, but these books books were really good and they had deeper meanings to them, and I learned something from them, put it that way. So give it a try. I would say if a book doesn't have great reviews or doesn't have a lot of ratings and reviews, give it a chance, because you never know, you could find your next gem. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next one. Bye guys.